You think government debt is just numbers on a screen. Big numbers, sure, but just numbers. In 2025, that number becomes a trap, and your wallet is the escape hatch. In the next 8 minutes, I'll show you the one mechanism that turns debt into higher taxes, higher prices, or worse services. And here's the thing, it's already started. This isn't about some abstract budget debate in the Capitol. This is about your paycheck, your groceries, your rent, your car payment. Here's how this trap reaches your jungle. First, borrowing costs stay high. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards. If you're waiting for rates to drop back to the old days, keep waiting. Second, inflation pressure. Prices don't cool like the experts kept promising. Food, insurance, utilities, they stay sticky. Third, higher taxes and hidden fees. Services shrink, costs rise. Your local jungle gets a little worse, a little more expensive. And it all comes from one boring thing most people ignore. This isn't politics. This is math. And math doesn't care who you voted for. Turn on the TV. Analyst sits there, calm voice, nice suit. We've always had debt. Every country has debt. The United States can handle it. We're the biggest economy in the world. And you nod. Makes sense on the surface. Until one thing changes. Rates. See, debt is easy when money is cheap. You borrow bananas at almost zero cost. Who cares how much you owe? But debt becomes a trap when money gets expensive. When every banana you borrowed now costs 2 bananas to refinance. That's where we are right now. Remember the housing trap? Regular apes, locked into low rates, can't move, can't sell. Remember the bank trap? Banks sitting on bonds that lost value when rates spiked. Same force, same mechanism, rate shock. Now zoom out. The government faces the exact same rate shock, just bigger. Much bigger. The same force trapping homeowners and freezing banks is now trapping the entire system. Let me make this jungle simple. The government is the biggest ape in the jungle. Boss Gov, massive, powerful. But even the biggest ape has to play by the rules. In the low-rate era, Boss Gov borrowed bananas at cheap rates, almost free, 2%, 1%, sometimes less. But here's what most apes don't understand. Debt doesn't just sit there forever. It matures. It expires. And when it expires, Boss Governor has to refinance, roll it over, pay off the old IOU by issuing a new IOU. Here's the one mechanism you need to remember. Debt becomes a trap when cheap IOUs mature and get replaced with expensive IOUs over and over. Let me show you the math. Imagine $1 trillion of debt matures this month. At 2%, that costs $20 billion a year in interest. At 5%, that same debt costs $50 billion. That's $30 billion more. Not because you spent more, just because you refinanced. Now multiply that across trillions, across years. The interest line on the budget grows by itself. Even if spending stays completely flat, the bill keeps rising. Picture a treadmill. Boss Gov is running on it. The treadmill is labeled refinance. Every month, old debt rolls off, new expensive debt rolls on. And here's the part most apes miss completely. You don't need new spending for the bill to explode. Refinancing the old debt at new rates does the damage. So what can Boss Gov do? 4 options, all painful. Option 1, cut, visible pain. Services shrink, roads don't get fixed, programs end, voters feel it immediately. Option 2, tax, visible pain. Take more bananas from regular apes. Economy slows, backlash hits fast. Option 3, inflate, silent tax. Let prices rise so the debt shrinks in real terms. Your savings buy less. You feel it slowly, but you feel it. Option 4, print and cap rates. Trust risk. Keep rates artificially low. Force the system to accept bad deals. The currency itself starts to wobble. Different labels, different speeches. Same result. Regular apes pay, one way or another. Here's the part that makes this really dangerous. Boss Gov doesn't fully control the interest rate on its own debt. Wait, what? See, when the government needs to borrow, it sells bonds, treasury bonds, and someone has to buy them. Investor, the bond market. Investor isn't one guy. It's millions of buyers acting at once. If investor is confident, he buys at low rates, fine. But if investor gets nervous, if he sees the treadmill speeding up and thinks maybe this ape can't handle the debt, he holds up a sign, yields up, and he pushes the speed lever on the treadmill. A treasury auction comes in weak, yields jump, headlines spread. The treadmill speeds up again. The government doesn't set its own borrowing cost. The market does. Investor holds the veto. Now add politics. Not left versus right. Just how the jungle works. Boss with the red tie has short-term incentives. Boss with the blue tie has different short-term incentives. Both want to look good today. Nobody wants to deliver pain today. So they fight. They delay. They kick the banana down the road. Meanwhile, behind them, the interest bill keeps growing. The long-term math gets ignored. Gridlock. Last-minute deals, uncertainty. And what does investor do when he sees chaos? He demands higher compensation, more yield, more interest, short-term politics, long-term math. They don't mix. So what lights the fuse? 4 possible triggers. 1. Rates stay higher for longer. The Fed doesn't cut as much as everyone hopes. 2. Recession hits. Tax revenue drops. The budget hole gets bigger. 3. A bad auction. A bond sale that doesn't get enough buyers. Markets panic. 4. Confidence shock. A foreign event. A banking scare. Debt ceiling drama. Something that makes investors suddenly nervous. But here's the truth. The spark isn't the point. The fuel is the treadmill. The treadmill is already running. Any spark can ignite it. So Regular is sitting in the jungle, minding his own business. How does this reach him? 3 channels. First, higher everyday inflation. The pressure doesn't go away. Food, insurance, utilities keep climbing. Second, higher borrowing costs. That mortgage rate, that credit card rate, they don't come back down to the old normal. Third, lower quality of life. Services shrink, fees rise, healthcare access gets harder, local budgets get squeezed. Your 401k gets hit with volatility every time there's a rate shock headline. This isn't abstract. This is your jungle getting smaller and more expensive. Okay, so what does Smart do? Not financial advice, just jungle logic. First, don't bet on one outcome. Maybe they inflate, maybe they cut, maybe they tax. Prepare for all 3, not just your favorite theory. Second, build a buffer. Liquid bananas, cash you can access. When the jungle shakes, you don't want to be forced to sell. Third, avoid fragile personal debt, variable rate traps. If your own debt resets higher, you're on your own little treadmill. Fourth, diversify where your bananas live. Not all in one tree, not all in one bet. Fifth, track a few simple signals. Where are rates going? Is inflation sticky? Any big headlines about auctions or banks? Sixth, know where your cash actually sits. Bank account, money market, brokerage sweep? Understand where your bananas sleep at night. Don't panic. Juxtaposition before the crowd figures it out. Let's bring it home. The housing trap froze people in place. Can't move, can't sell. The bank trap froze deposits. Stuck in a system with hidden losses. The debt trap, it quietly freezes your future purchasing power. Slowly, invisibly, until it's too late. Same mechanism. Rate shock, different scale. The debt trap doesn't break overnight. It bleeds you slowly. Next video, we go deeper. What happens when the currency itself starts losing trust? That's the final domino. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Don't follow the herd. Follow the math.